Welcome to the Plumes of Oz, where we look at the Australian birds in the wild. And today we have a bird that is full of character. It is the Zebra Finch, well known internationally. And today in many countries of the world, the Zebra Finch has now been bred, adapting well to life in an aviary. And today it brings joy to many people as a pet. Zebra finches live on grass seed. Here the male bird is feeding from the seed head, and now, which is more typical, feeding directly off the ground, in an open area where the seed has been blown by the wind onto the red earth. Here they can move around freely. In Cape York we don't find the zebra finch because the savanna grass is just too dense. They can't walk around at the bottom of it. They have a wide distribution throughout most of Australia, but when one wants to find the large flocks, the ideal place is in the warmer, dry grassland areas of northern Australia. For here the grass, after rain, grows quickly, but then with the dry climate and lack of humidity, it withers quickly, dropping the seed to the ground. Zebra finches belong to the family of estreldids, or grass finches in Australia as we know them. Here are some of the estrelid finches in Australia. Firstly, the crimson finch, then these finches with double bands, called a double bar finch. Then the beautifully coloured Gouldian finch, the female not so bright. And then the painted finch. He has a longer bill. If only Darwin had studied the Australian finches. With the enormous variety in the genera, he would not have made so many mistakes. Now a blackface finch with a stubby bill. A beautiful plum colour, the male plumhead finch. When estrelid was first introduced into binomial nomenclature, it applied to the common waxbill, much like our red-brow finch. And lastly, the long-tail finch. Now let us get back to the zebra finch. A staccato effect. Look at the way the zebra markings on the throat move with each call. And the call is a beep meep. There were many birds calling it a male and female. Separating them from many small grey birds in the Australian bush is the dark vertical teardrop below the eye. Zebra finches are flock birds. The flock can vary enormously in size, and sometimes flocks will come together, forming a super flock with maybe up to 1,000 birds. Here you can see flocks flying in and out of this tree. This is a staging point, either to food or water, and in this case it was to water. Flocks depart and flocks arrive. Where there is grass available for food and water for drinking, so the raptors watch, and the finches are a delicacy for the raptors like the brown goshawk. And here you can see a falcon, a hobie, devouring a zebra finch. Here in southwest Queensland you can see small numbers of up to a dozen zebra finches coming in for a drink. They attended frequently, and the raptors were watching. The brown goshawk capitalised on this gathering of the finches. He swooped down, didn't catch a finch, but then landed, and you can see why he missed. Look at the barring on the chest, it is very prominent. This is a young brown goshawk, and at his age he is getting more misses than hits. A lonely male finch practising intended function as a flock or a small group, together flying from the nests, coming to the ground to feed and drink as a flock. The density of the young birds, when they do go out and forage, is a good indicator of how breeding is going on. There can be enormous variation in the young bird densities. The young birds are easily separated from the adults because of their dark bill. Breeding fluctuates according to the season, so if there's rain, there is grass. And when the grass comes, so the birds breed. Once breeding occurs, the density of young birds goes up in the flock. Here in the Northern Territory, where the climate is generally warm and the finches have a fairly long extended breeding period, the birds are coming to drink at a borehole. When we look closely, we can see only adult birds, no young birds with black bills. This is a drought period. Breeding is not taking place. In fact, the density of zebra finches in the vicinity around this borehole is few. They have massed here at the borehole because it is 40 degrees and they are desperate for water. Here are a few shots taken around this borehole during the drought. There are no young but super-sized flocks, all desperate for water. Here is a pair sitting on a branch. No young. There are sexual dimorphisms in the grass. The little male zebra begins to do something different. He starts to collect the grass and take it back and give it to the female, who has selected a nesting point. And there, the female builds the nest by putting all these pieces of grass together. In good breeding seasons, there can be an eruption in the population of zebra finches, and this happened at the end of 20 and the beginning of 2021. Zebra finches usually lay 4 to 6 eggs in the nest. The female sits on the nest for 2 weeks, and then the hatchlings remain in the nest for a further 3 weeks until fledged. With an abundance of food, it may well be that soon after this, the female will again incubate a further clutch. And 3 to 4 clutches per season may result, and you can see with 4 to 6 birds each time. Each pair could have 20 plus chicks per year. In addition, sexual maturity is reached by 3 months, so the children then have their own brood. And with a sudden flush in young birds, this is called an eruptive phase. At the time of doing this recording, this has happened in Western New South Wales and southwest Queensland. Not only with the zebra finches, but also with the other seed eaters, like the quail and the parrots. Just look at the number of young finches amongst this flock perched in this tree above water. The young zebras have darkening on the bill,